Hey everyone, welcome back to another Web Dev Junkie video. So in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about burnout and how you can kind of experience burnout in either your journey to become a software engineer, or if you are a software engineer right now, I'm sure you've experienced some type of burnout along the way. And I just want to say that I'm not actually doing this video because I experienced burnout at the company I'm working with or the project I'm on, because I actually really enjoy my team and I really enjoy the project and I feel like it's actually making an impact in the world. But I know in the past I have experienced burnout, so I wanted to kind of talk about these topics as well, and maybe it can help someone else out there. But before I jump into these topics, let me just go ahead and remind you to please press that like button if you enjoyed this video and you like the videos I produce. It helps my videos get promoted in YouTube. Also, be sure to click that subscribe button and bell icon if you're new to this channel, because I'm going to be publishing other videos like this in the future that should hopefully help you become a better web developer or software engineer. By the way, I've been trying to kind of change up my setup a little bit. I did get some lights, some front-facing lights and a phone stand to try to improve the quality of my content, but I'm just going to slowly change stuff up and just experiment. So first, let me just go ahead and kind of give my definition of what I feel like burnout really is. I'm sure there's other definitions of burnout, but for me, it's when I'm kind of bored of a project or a company and I don't feel like I'm actually able to learn anything on the side, or the project I'm on maybe has a tech stack that's kind of becoming archaic or old. Imagine you're on a project that uses AngularJS, right? It's a framework that first came up and kind of blew up in popularity, and now it's being overtaken by React and Svelte and Vue, and AngularJS is now pronounced dead in a sense. I could imagine if you're still working on a project that uses AngularJS, you might be experiencing some burnout because you feel like there's a lot of other projects or technologies you could be learning, and you might be kind of feeling left behind. Now, this is just an example. I'm not sure how many people use AngularJS at this point in time, but this can kind of apply to anything. Maybe you've been working with Node.js for the past 7 years and you just kind of want to change it up. You want to go learn something else like Go, or maybe you want to kind of explore dealing with Rust. All of these can kind of contribute to burnout. And really, I think as a software engineer and as a web developer, we like shiny new things because it kind of keeps our creativity flowing. We like learning new technologies and kind of improving our process. And if you're stuck on a project or a company that doesn't really value experimenting with new pieces of technology or exploring options, I could understand how you can easily get burned out. So that's like the first half of my personal definition of burnout. But there's also another part, and that is actually like, if you work in an environment that's kind of toxic or stressful, you can experience burnout. And software engineering, I don't think, has as much burnout as other fields, like medical fields, like being a nurse. My wife is a nurse, and honestly, I would never trade my job to be a nurse at all because it just sounds really stressful. Like, the lives of other people are in your hands, basically. You can screw up and kill someone. So I probably personally couldn't handle a work environment like that, but there's a lot of tech companies and projects where it's kind of a toxic environment where you might have deadlines and people are kind of asking you and hollering at you like, why is this not getting done? You told me you have this done last week. Why are you still working on it? So I kind of feel like those type of work environments can contribute to burnout. So thankfully for me, I don't have either of those. I'm still really entertained with the project I'm doing at work. I really like my company because they really encourage knowledge sharing and just learning in general, which is like one of the key requirements I have with working at a company, like having the ability to go off and learn something new if I need to and see if that'll help my current project. And the second thing doesn't really apply to me either because I don't feel like I really work at a toxic workplace. Another thing that could really cause burnout is if you don't feel like the project you're contributing to is making any real difference in the world. So I can actually kind of give some real life examples that, happened in my past when I first started with programming. And going back to my first job, this was like a job where I was doing Java development, and that was on an IRAD, so an internal research and development team. And really the goal for our project was to kind of do that research for other projects to figure out if pieces of technology are useful or not. And we worked on this one project for almost a year and a couple of months, and they canned it, which means that like they put it on the shelf. We're not doing that anymore. All the work that you spent the last year on is not even needed or used. And honestly, that kind of just like drove a stake in my heart because I'm like, dude, I just invested a whole year plus 4 months into a project that you're literally just saying we're not going to use it anymore. Like, we're not going to use it all. We're not going to need at all. So that can really contribute to burnout because like now you feel like your time was not even valuable. Like, yeah, you learned a lot of cool things along the way. I kind of learned how to become a better software engineer, how to work with a team. I learned about source control, Java, enterprise Java, all these other fancy buzzwords. But at the end of the day, if you feel like you're, waking up 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks in a year, and the thing that you're working on is not actually changing or being used to help anyone in the real world, that can really contribute to burnout in my opinion. But this happens a lot in software engineering where like you'll work on a project that may not actually be used by anyone. This happened on another project where we're trying to build a new product, and I don't think this product ever lifted off for whatever reason. They didn't want to actually use it, or is too complicated to use. I don't really understand the details of it because I got switched off to another project in the meantime, but all of those different talking points can kind of contribute to burnout. And I'm assuming there's a lot more. So if you have an idea of what could contribute to your burnout, leave a comment below and let us know. So now let's kind of talk about how can you address burnout? How can you kind of mitigate the effects of burnout so you don't feel like you need to quit your job or go find another company to work at? The main thing that helps me is honestly shut my laptop and don't touch it for like a day or two. It's really hard for me to do because I think I'm kind of addicted to programming. But if you can go a whole day or two without using technology, without programming, without looking at work emails, and just kind of put it all out of your mind, what ends up happening is when you come back from that like mental break, everything looks a little bit fresher to you, right? Everything seems more energized and more appealing to work on because now you have like a fresh state of mind. Whereas if you just keep on trying to work on it every week and you don't take any of those mental breaks, you're just really going to run yourself to burnout. So I would also recommend like take a vacation if you want to and just don't bring your work laptop. That can help a lot too. This is kind of, I am experiencing a little burnout with the current side project I'm working on, this NFT magic site. So kind of today, I just spent the whole day just like trying to entertain my kids and not think about this project and not work on it at all. And I'm hoping that in a day or two, I'll have like more energy to be motivated to work on this NFT magic application I've been working on. By the way, I have a series that kind of explains me building this project along the way. So if you kind of want to learn what I've been doing and get some insight of me building a real life application using Web3 technologies, be sure to check it out. But yeah, take a break. That can really help kind of rejuvenate your mind. Second thing I recommend you do is just try to learn something on the side, right? That's one reason why I have a YouTube channel and why I also have a bunch of side projects. I always have this like other alternative channel where I'm just kind of doing my creative outlet, whether it be making these videos, kind of talking to the camera, or just building out side projects, because that can really help spur the creativity and motivation on the main project that you're doing at work or whatever you're trying to do, whether it's like learning how to program or kind of learning about computer science algorithms. Like for an example, if you work full-time in Java, maybe you want a side project that you're doing like Go work, or you're doing Rust work, or you're doing like Node.js. But in my case, I work full-time in Node.js, just building, Web 2.0 technologies. So that's why I'm kind of branching off to learn a little bit about cryptocurrency, learning a little bit about Ethereum, Web3. I really just always have this other side thing I'm working on to kind of spur the creativity in my head. So if those two things don't help prevent burnout, if you can't take a break for some reason, maybe you don't have enough vacation time at your company, or there's tight deadlines and you don't feel like you can take a break, or you don't have the energy or the time outside of work to work on a side project, another thing you could do is maybe ask your manager or ask the person at your company if there's a separate project that you can be switched to. Be level with them. Be like, hey, are you looking for me to maybe join another project? Do you need a new set of eyes on a project? Do you need a new person on a team? That could be a great way to kind of change it up a little bit, but I would be very cautious about that because the grass is not always greener on the other side. You might be on a project that's actually pretty good and you ask to get switched to a different project, and that project might be a more toxic environment. It might be a more boring project. It might be a different way that stuff works. Maybe it's more waterfall versus agile. You never know. The fourth thing I would kind of recommend is just like try to switch jobs, right? Try to find a completely different company. Maybe they work on a different stack. They have a different methodology for building software. Maybe they have better practices for like test-driven development, code coverage. Maybe they actually document their code. Maybe where you're currently working at is a bunch of cowboy coders who don't collaborate, or there's some type of like software pull request gatekeeping going on, or something that can like really just burn you out. Like just, you don't want to go to work because you have to deal with this person or have to deal with this technology. So the fourth option is you could always just switch jobs. You could try to find another job, and especially if you already have experience under your belt, finding a new job as a software engineer is probably easier than you think. It's just a matter of doing the interviews, which could be a little daunting. And then lastly, you could always just quit your job and start becoming a truck driver or something like that. But in all seriousness, like if burnout has affected you, be sure to leave a comment below and let other people on this channel know, and kind of like we can kind of talk about burnout. And I'm going to wrap this video up, but if you enjoyed watching this, be sure to press that thumbs up button because it helps my channel grow. Also, remember to subscribe if you're new to this channel and you want to see more videos like this in the future. So have a good day and happy coding.